I remember the night everything fell apart. Sitting in the dark, staring at the ceiling, feeling like my whole world had collapsed. I had failed again. And all I could think was, why is this happening to me? You ever been there? That place where the pain is so deep it feels like you can't breathe? Where you start questioning everything, your choices, your worth, your future? I wanted to quit. I wanted to run. I wanted the pain to stop. But then something hit me. Pain wasn't my enemy. It was my teacher. See, I had spent my whole life avoiding pain, thinking it was a sign that something was wrong. But that night, I realized something different. Pain doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to wake you up. You think champions are made in comfort? You think the strongest people you admire got there without suffering? No. They were forged in the fire. They were built in the very pain that tried to break them. And I need you to hear me. There is no growth without suffering. You want to build muscle? You gotta tear the fibers fast. You want to be mentally tough? Life has to beat you down fast. You want to succeed? You have to fail over and over and over and over again. Pain is the prize, and the ones who embrace it, the ones who refuse to quit when it hurts, those are the ones who rise. But most people, they break. They run back to comfort. They beg for an easy way out, and that is why they stay exactly where they are. But not you. If you're still here, still standing, still breathing, then you have a choice. You can stay down or you can rise. You can let pain weaken you or you can let it make you unstoppable. So the next time life knocks you down, don't ask why me. Look pain in the eye and say, try me, because you are built for this. Now get up and show the world what happens when pain meets someone who refuses to break. Heavenly Father, I come before you, not as someone who has it all figured out, but as someone who is tried, broken, and searching for strength. Lord, I don't always understand why I go through pain. I don't always see the purpose in my suffering. But today, I choose to trust you. Because I know you are a God who never wastes pain. I know you are shaping me, molding me, refining me through every trial. I know that what the enemy meant for harm, you will turn into something greater. So, Father, I ask for strength, not for an easy life, but for the courage to face every challenge head on. Not for comfort, but for endurance to keep going when I feel like giving up. Not for a way out, but for the wisdom to learn what you are teaching me in this season. When I feel weak, remind me that your power is made perfect in my weakness. When I feel lost, remind me that you are ordering my steps. When I feel alone, remind me that you are with me, even in the darkest moments. Lord, take my pain and turn it into purpose. Take my suffering and turn it into strength. Take my struggles and use them to build me into the person you created me to be. I refuse to stay down. I refuse to quit. I refuse to let pain break me, because I know that through you, I am more than a conqueror. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
I'm changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again.
You ain't see me activated. You better hope that you never see me agitated. I think about my actions, plan them out, evaluated. That's how I feel like I'm a new person. I wanna have clear vision and purpose, and I feel like the pain shouldn't last. If you can move on and past the things that make you feel bad, and you can change in your brain, I'm certain I'll
I know you're hurting, struggling, and weak, but don't let this moment define you. Don't let it dictate your future. Let it teach you, fortify you, and prepare you for your breakthroughs. Therefore, to ensure that you stay at peace during this trying season of your life, I want you to sit still and say the following affirmations. Pain is not my enemy, it is my teacher. Every struggle I face is shaping me into a stronger, wiser, and more powerful version of myself. I do not suffer in vain. My pain has a purpose. What I endure today will prepare me for the victories of tomorrow. I trust that hardship is leading me toward growth and transformation. I am being refined, not broken, strengthened, not defeated. The most powerful stories are written in struggle, and I am living proof of resilience. I do not run from pain. I face it head on and let it shape me. Pain does not define me. How I rise from it does. Every challenge is an opportunity for me to grow, evolve, and step into my true potential. God, or the universe, is using my struggle to mold me into who I am meant to be. I will not let suffering make me bitter. I will let it make me better. Even in my darkest moments, I believe that light is on the other side. I have survived every battle so far, and I will overcome this too. Pain is temporary, but the strength I gain from it will last forever. I am not a victim of my pain. I am a student of my struggle. Every trial I face is strengthening my mind, body, and spirit. Suffering is not the end of my story. It is the beginning of my transformation. I embrace the challenges in my life because they are shaping my destiny. I trust the process even when I don't understand the purpose. The pain I feel today will be the strength I stand on tomorrow. I am growing through what I am going through. Nothing I have been through is wasted. Everything is making me wiser and stronger. I was not given this battle to break me, but to build me into a warrior. Pain is temporary, but the lessons it teaches me will last forever. You can now open your eyes. However, you should spend at least 5 minutes daily saying these truths to change your perspective on pain and suffering. The Stoic Handbook, page 27. Book 5, page 10. The phenomenon of existence is so veiled in obscurity that it can baffle even the best philosophers. Even the Stoics themselves have difficulty and admit that all our opinions are subject to change. For where is the man who is infallible? Book 5, page 16. The habits of your thoughts will become the character of your mind, for the soul is dyed by the thoughts. Dye it, then, with thoughts such as these. Wherever one lives, one can live well, even if he must live in a palace. Book 5, page 28. Are you angry with those who have smelly armpits? Are you angry with those who have bad breath? What good is your anger? One person has a bad breath, another has smelly armpits. It is normal for such odors to come from such things. Book 7, page 18. Is anyone afraid of change? Why? What can take place without change? What is more pleasing or more suitable to the universal nature? Can you take a bath unless the wood is set afire and undergoes a change? Can you be nourished unless the food undergoes a change? And can anything else that is useful be accomplished without change? Do you not see then that changes in yourself are just the same and equally necessary for the universal nature? Book 7, page 54. Everywhere and at all times, it is in your power to revere the gods by being content in your present condition, to behave justly to those who are about you, and to exert skill upon your present thoughts, so that nothing shall steal into you them without being well examined. Book 7, page 65. Take care not to feel towards the mean-spirited as they feel towards you. Book 8, page 5. This is the chief thing. Do not be disturbed. All things are in accordance with the nature of the universe. And in a little while, you will be nobody and nowhere, like Hadrianus and Augustus. Next, focus steadily on your work, and at the same time, remember that it is your duty to be a good man. Do what nature demands without turning aside. Speak as it seems to you most just, but with an even disposition and with modesty and without hypocrisy. Book 8, page 28. Pain is either an evil to the body or to the soul, but it is in the power of the soul to maintain its own serenity and tranquility, and not to think that pain is an evil. Every judgment and movement and desire and aversion is without where evil cannot ascend. Book 8, page 55. Wickedness does not harm at all to the universe in general, and the wickedness of one person does not harm to another in particular. It is only harmful to those who have it in their power to be released from it as soon as they choose to do so. Book 8, page 58. He who fears death either fears the loss of sensation or a different kind of sensation. But if you have no sensation, you will not feel any harm. And if you acquire another kind of sensation, you will be a different kind of living being, and you will not cease to live. Book 10, page 4. When others are mistaken, instruct them kindly and show them the error. But if you are unable, blame yourself, or don't even blame yourself. Book 12, page 5. How can it be that nature, after having arranged all things so well and benevolently for humanity, would have overlooked the fact that some of the very good among us, those who have had the most communion with the divine, and through altruistic acts and spiritual practices have been the most intimate with the divine, when once they are dead, their life should be extinguished completely? But even if it was so, we can be assured that if it ought to have been otherwise, nature would have done otherwise. For if it were just, it would also be possible. And if it were in accordance with nature, then it would have been done. The DOE, an extreme synthesis of the discourses of Epictetus. The greatest tribal warrior who ever lived, Genghis Khan, 1162 to 1227, was probably illiterate, but undoubtedly a master of the keen memory and oral tradition that has been with us for millennia. Khan's 150,000 cavalry warriors didn't move in a single massive column, as was common in his day, but were broken into many units and spread out over great distances. The difficulty in managing such an army was in communication. Virtually all his soldiers were also illiterate, including most of the officers, which meant that all messages had to be communicated orally. As we all know, the farther you are from the source of any oral information, the more it gets distorted. To prevent misunderstanding, all those codes of conduct and battle orders made by the great Khan were composed in a commonly known Mongolian poetic style, set to music and sung by the men as they rode on horseback. What follows is written in the form of verse for the same reason. It's easier to remember and likely to be distorted with repetition. It's meant to be memorized. Mem or memory exercises were very much a part of classical Stoics education. What you will find here is an extreme synthesis of the discourses of Epictetus, the DOE, organized and composed into a common poetic style, blank verse. The DOE is a mem, a memory exercise that can begin each day and or as often as needed, when one wishes or needs to remember Epictetus' marching orders for life. The DOE, one rule to unite us, live in agreement with nature, true maxims to guide us. Good is virtue that evil lacks, all the rest is indifferent. Good and evil are in the will, only will is in our power. Three studies abide us: judgment and inner discourse, desires and the rising passions, actions and the noble duties. Here, the sage inside us, practice, 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 practice. One rule. Epictetus remarked that it was a rule in life to do what was in accordance with nature. For if we desire in every matter and every occasion to conform to nature, we must on every occasion evidently make it our aim. Discourses 1:26. The actual heading of this chapter of Discourses is entitled, What the Rule of Life Is. About this there can be no doubt, from Zeno to the end of classical period, the Stoic motto, which is said a number of ways, in harmony with nature, in agreement with nature, conformably with nature, all mean the same thing. There is one rule that unites all Stoics and all aspects of Stoic philosophy. This is so important that Epictetus even matter-of-factly states that anyone who does not live by this rule will wander up and down, entirely deaf and blind, supposing himself to be somebody while he is nobody. It is important to remember that living in agreement with nature does not mean living by tooth and claw and survival of the biggest, strongest, and fittest among us. That would be a better description of many other creatures. No, our unique ability given to us by nature is not bigger teeth and muscles, but bigger brains. Using reason is our way, or should be our way. If there is any doubt in your mind about the one rule of life, read Epictetus. True maxims. The first maxim: good is virtue that evil lacks, all the rest is indifferent. The essence of good and evil is a certain kind of moral purpose. What are things outward, then? Materials on which the moral purpose may act in attaining its own good or evil. How then will it attain good, if it be not dazzled by its own materials? For right principles concerning these materials keep the moral purpose in a good state, but perverse the distorted principles in a bad one. This law God hath ordained, who says, if you wish for good, receive it from yourself. Epictetus, Abid 1:29. Good is virtue that evil lacks. What does that mean? We have already seen from our general principle that the good and only good is virtue. Only that which is good and can never be used for undue gain and immoral purposes qualifies unequivocally as good. Only the virtues are good in every situation and on every occasion, and therefore qualify for the name that must always be honorable. So, the good is virtue. The cardinal virtues, as you will recall, are wisdom, justice, courage, and decorum. Virtue that evil lacks means that evil is simply a lack of virtue. That is what evil is. That is it. Evil is a lack of virtue. It has nothing to do with committing a frightful sin whispered into your ear by a prince of darkness that is calculated to bring about the wrath of a vengeful God. That's a children's story. If evil is a lack of virtue, then evil is the absence of wisdom, justice, courage, and decorum. We can use bad and evil interchangeably. What we commonly call bad, kainon, is not really bad. Sickness, poverty, and exile are indifference to the wise. Even death, because it is the inevitable and natural process of change, is neither good nor bad and must be one of the indifferents. There is no evil in nature, only in human beings when they act without virtue. Just as virtue is the only good, so it is that the actions of persons lacking in virtue are the only sources of evil in this world. Now we come to the end of the first maxim. All the rest is indifferent. This is one of the most important concepts in Stoicism, and one we must all learn, remember, and return to time and again. These are what Epictetus constantly refers to as externals. Good and evil come from inside, internal, not from outside of us, the externals. The externals are matters that belong to others, as well as the inevitable changes and consequences of nature. All those things we commonly call good or bad, see above, are neither good nor bad and are only indifferent. Only virtue is good and only the lack of virtue is bad. So, except for wisdom, justice, courage, and decorum, or the lack thereof, all the rest are indifference. What are indifference? What does that mean exactly? For years, I placed little value on the indifference simply because I didn't really understand them. The Epictetus quote about the indifference are materials upon which the moral purpose may act finally sank into my thick skull and rearranged my thinking on matters altogether. In looking over what I have written on the subject in the past, I could see I was saying all the right words, but not really knowing them in my gut. It's so easy to gloss over the indifference when you learn that you must be indifferent to everything but your ethical behavior. That's what I did, and that is not what it means at all. To isolate virtues without indifference is to exist in a vacuum, which is impossible and absurd. Without the indifference to work on, you have no virtues. In fact, you don't even exist. Indifference gives us something to do in life. They are your life. Everything that happens to you is an external, an indifferent, and what you do with everything is what defines your character as noble or ignoble, good or evil. To say you are not going to have anything to do with externals is ridiculous. You really don't have a choice. Your only choice is what you do with them and how you act upon the materials you have been given. It's like the potter sitting at his wheel. The indifferents are like the clay. How can the potter be indifferent to his clay? Without the clay, he has nothing to do but watch the wheel spin around. The potter cares about his clay. The skill of the potter in working with his hands to form a beautiful and useful vessel from this lump of clay is like the skill of the Stoic in working with the cardinal virtues in forming a noble character. The Stoic's clay is made up of indifference. Without the clay, the indifference, the potter, and the Stoic have nothing upon which to practice their skills. Here's another example. I am thinking of joining a local ball club. I have a little free time and a little talent, and I really have fun playing ball. I also know that being a member of the team will expose me to a lot of yelling, cussing, temper tantrums, and occasional outright mean-spirited play by individuals on my team and on the other team. Being a member of the club is an indifferent. All the unpleasantness are indifferent. So, should I avoid playing altogether and have nothing to do with this activity? No, of course not. I should play the game. That is what life is all about. How I play the game is what matters. The same is true for every activity: politics, starting up or running a business, taking care of a household, law enforcement, and on and on. Don't be afraid of your clay, the indifference. Don't avoid them. Use them, enjoy them, work with them, practice, practice, practice. The second maxim: good and evil are in the will. Only will is in our power. Good and evil are in the will. Stoics believe we choose either good or evil by exercising the power of our will. In fact, not only do we have this choice, it is our only real choice, and it is our choice alone. Friends, enemies, tyrants, no one, not even a god, can take away the power of choice to do good or evil that we have in the will. As Epictetus said of tyrants, "You will fetter my leg, but not even Zeus himself can get the better of my free will." Such a great power we have. Think about it. Think about what a great discovery the Stoics made about the power of the will to choose to do good or evil. But before we go on, perhaps we should make sure we know what our will is. When in doubt, we can always consult a dictionary. Here's what mine says: the mental faculty by which one deliberately chooses or decides upon a course of action. B. Volition, the act of exercising the will. When we say that virtue and the lack of virtue are in the will, we are talking about the mental faculty by which one deliberately chooses or decides upon a course of action. When we say that only will is in our power, we say that good and evil only exist in our mental faculty as a choice, and only this choice between good and evil is in our power, nothing else. That is where our power ends. Everything else is either in the power of another individual or in the will of nature. But now, although it is in our power to care for one thing and apply ourselves to one, we choose rather to care for many and to encumber ourselves with many: body, poverty, brother, friend, child, and slave. And by this multiplicity of encumbrances, we are burdened and weighed down. What then is to be done? To make the best of what is in our power and take the rest as it occurs. And how does it occur? As God wills.